What's up, my peoples? I am Gandhi, and today we're taking a look at Capture the Flag on Dispatch from Classic's very own Mikwen. Now, this game type is a big one because this is Classic taking on Ambush. These are two juggernaut teams going head-to-head, so I really hope you enjoy the gameplay. But before we get into the gameplay and strategy and all that, I want to talk a little bit about Mikwen. Now, Mikwen is a player who has surprisingly been around the league for a very long time, even though he is only 19 years old. Now, his first tournament was in the 2006 Halo 2 season, going way back in the day. And in 2007, he was actually rewarded top 32 free-for-all, which is technically pro bracket, and that basically gave him a semi-pro seed. Now, in Halo 3, he was still kind of young, so I mean, you got to think, if he's 19, that puts him at 14, 15, traveling around for these events, and age is such a factor in the competitive scene. But so in Halo 3, he won a Big Flex 4 free-for-all event, and he also got one top 8 finish in Halo 3. Now, on top of that, his big season was his 2011 season, and the reason it was because he was a little bit more mature, and also he started riding on the coattails of the all-infamous Ninja that everyone knows and loves at this day and age because, well, he's kind of the face of the community, and he streams every day for 14 hours. The guy's a savage, to say the very least. So anyway, so Mikwen teams up with Ninja, and there's a lot of hype around these guys, but unfortunately they can't get into this rhythm where, you know, they're always getting top 8. They get one top 8 finish, they teamed with Walshy and Bestman, but other than that, it just wasn't good. So Mikwen's kind of been, you know, trying to figure out his place, and I remember I told him, I said, hey, listen, Mikwen, you're not in the shadow of Ninja anymore. It is time for you to become your very own player. You are just as good as Ninja, if not better some games, because you have the ability of taking a game over. And he said, yeah, no. And he just said, I have no idea how to, you know, really perform on lane. I said, look, you got to clear your mind. You have to stop worrying about what your teammates are thinking, what the fans are thinking, what I'm saying in the booth. You have to play your game. And at Nashville, he had one of his best events, and he contributed that a lot to what I had to tell him. And I think it's a very good thing. The mental game is very, very important, especially being a competitive player. Moving forward here, I want to talk a lot about this team change. So tomorrow in Gandhi's Thoughts, I am going to talk about how I think they're going to do. But so this team change is very, very big. So Classic, who used to be on Fnatic, they parted ways with Fnatic, is actually consisted of Chig. Everyone knows Chig from the Halo 3 days. You have Chig, Russo, who is a very, very good player who made his presence known in Halo Reach, getting multiple top 8 finishes and a third at the MLG Anaheim event. And then last but not least, you have a really good noob. Now, a really good noob and Mikwen used to not get along at all. And I know a lot of people, if you've watched my podcast or my Gandhi's Thoughts, you know that Mikwen expressed that he didn't really like Rynoob and he would never team with him. Well, so after that video came out, Rynoob reached out to him and he said, hey, man, I want to iron things out. I just don't, you know, I don't like having people not like me. I just want to know where you're coming from. And he said, okay, yeah, we'll sit down, we'll talk. And they talked, and they ironed everything out. So they're good buddies now, which is awesome. And that's why this team, I think, is really going to work. Because the one thing Mikwen, Russo, and Chig were missing as a team was someone who actually understood Halo 4 completely. And that is very, very, very important. And Rynoob knows it one of the best. He's one of the best at knowing it because of the countless amount of time he's put into the game. So there you go, guys. That is the background story here of Team Classic and Mikwen. Now let's talk a little bit about Capture the Flag on Dispatch. Now, Capture the Flag on Dispatch is a much different game type now with the 4SK settings, which is a 4-shot kill settings. And the reason it is so much different is because finally we are seeing that there is a power position that you have to control in this game type, and that is Ring 3. You've already seen Mikwen doing it a lot so far this game. He's always up there. And Ring 3 is so important because people just melt in front of you, especially if you're a host like Mikwen is. And how you can tell if your host is up down an ordnance, there will be there will be gold rings around your ordnance, and that's how you know your host. So there's your little quick little tip. But so the reason why it's so important is because host now is a humongous factor. It's going back to more of the Halo 2 days, because when it's a 4-shot kill and not a 5-shot kill, you can kill people so fast. I mean, the kill time, I think, in these settings is like 1.43. So it's pretty fast. So if your shots aren't connecting online, and on LAN it's going to happen too long range compared to the host, then the host is going to be able to just annihilate you. I used to host in Halo 2 for my team, Team Carbon. And I would just take all the high grounds, and you can put so many shots in, and their enemy team cannot challenge you at all unless they want to get melted. So it's a great job to go ring 3. Now, the other thing, though, is with ring 3 is you live and die by it. So when you are ring 3, you have to be very, very careful. You always have to be staying alive. You have to be listening to call outs. But the other thing is, though, is there's times where you can get carried away and get too caught up in ring 3. And the one scenario where people get too caught up in ring 3 is when your team is running the flag to either yellow or green side, and you see that the enemy spawned in one of the windows. So when they spawn in one of those windows and the flag guy's running to them, you have to drop down from ring 3 and you have to pinch him. You absolutely have to pinch him, or else they're going to kill the flag guy and you're going to be useless. So you can't have concrete feet. That's kind of the rule of Halo 4. You cannot have concrete feet. You have to always be moving. But that is really one of the only situations where ring 3 control can kind of screw you. Other than that, feel free to go there. Only send one person up there. Don't send multiples up there. It just becomes a cluster. And the nades aren't exactly hard to throw up there at a competitive level. So if you have 2 people up there, that's an easy double kill. They're going to get an advantage. Anyways, now people always want me to talk about. I got some tweets and people were saying, "Hey, what's the best way to run the flag?" I always think it's good to run it left or right. Now, there's a couple things to take into consideration here, and the number one thing you have to take into consideration is power weapons and power ups. So what I mean by that is, so the overshield's going to be coming up on a unique timer. So if you pick it up at 14:58, it's going to be coming up at 12:58. It's going to be exactly 2 minutes from the time that you originally picked it up. The same with the sniper rifle. So when you're running that flag, let's say you get all 4 dead randomly off the beginning of the match, and you get all 4 dead and you're running the flag, you can kind of get away with running it anywhere because the overshield's already gone, the sniper's gone, you're good to go, you have no one contesting it. Now, let's fast forward here. If you're trying to run the flag at around 13 minutes and you know their sniper's coming up and you know overshield's coming up, you're going to have to pick and choose here, because if you get that flag at like 13:05, it's going to take you about 4 seconds to get to the overshield, right? So you have a potential of getting there. Will you get it? I have no idea. It depends on how many people are alive on their team and what's the scenario. But you have the ability to grab overshield, but you also have the ability to run it to their sniper. Now, if you control their sniper when that comes up, they're not going to be able to stop the flag without throwing godly nades. So sometimes you're going to see teams run the flag to their sniper when it's coming up, and this is going to prevent them from getting an easy stop, because the sniper, as everyone knows in this game, it isn't too difficult to use because you can't be unscoped. And on this game type particularly, the angles are so easy for the sniper. It's so open that it's kind of a field day. So when you watch teams like Ambush and Classic and Warriors play it, it's amazing to watch just because so many people get their face ripped off. So anyway, so you see some teams run the flag to their sniper. But then on the other hand, some people would rather get that ring 3, where they would rather have a guy ring 3, and then they push into the base, and then they run the flag away from the sniper. And the reason they want to run it away from the sniper is because they know that wherever the sniper spawned, or wherever the sniper is sitting, he's going to influence his teammates to spawn around him, and then they can trap him and potentially get another cap. It's risky. It is very risky, but it's also high risk, high reward. So, you kind of pick and choose your battles. Now, that's the next thing I want to talk about here is actually spawn influence. Now, spawn influence in this game is very important to this game type in particular because of the routes you can run the flag. Now, let's take for scenario here. Right in front of your screen right here, you see that is going to be yellow flag, where you're seeing him look at, that's yellow plat. Let's say you kill 3 people on yellow flag. If you kill 3 people on yellow flag and your teammate's grabbing the flag, you have to tell him to run it to yellow flag. By running it to yellow flag, the reason you do that is because there is literally no way in fucking hell that they can spawn there, because they have 3 death influences right on that spawn. There's no way they can spawn there. So that's going to give you a safe route to get to yellow sticks. And then now you're at the halfway mark and you can kind of trudge it through. So that's the one good thing. And the other way you influence spawns is by line of sight. So let's say you kill 2 people at yellow and 2 people at green. Whichever way you're looking more, so this is something that you're going to hear small talk a lot with top teams. You'll be like, okay, guys, I'm looking at yellow. So then they know that yellow is most likely going to be blocked, and they're either going to get courtyard spawns, which is kind of like in the lower middle area of the enemy's base, or they're going to get green spawns. That's how it works due to influence, so you have to use it to your advantage, and you always have to be telling your teammates where you're looking and where you're not looking. Now, the other flag route potential that you do have is the ability to run the flag top middle. This is my personal favorite. I swear up and down by it. I think it's the best. And the reason I think it's the best is because it is an 8-second flag cap. And when you have sprint in a game, it is very, very important to get to your base as quick as humanly possible. But, you know, with just like everything in this world, there's always negatives about it. But ideally, when you're running that flag top middle, you want to get 3 members on your opposition dead, and you're going to be pushing it straight to top middle. Now, whichever way you're getting shot at, because if you kill them all on their flag, they're going to be getting either split spawns or they're going to be spawning yellow or green. So whichever way you're getting shot, just drop off to the side that they're not shooting you, get a little bit of cover, and then truck that flag in back to your base. This is the best way and the most effective way to actually get a cap on this game type. And even though it's hellacious, and even though it's crazy to run the flag top middle at times because you're so vulnerable, it still works out in the end. And I really personally think it is the best. But other than that, the main thing you should be focusing on in this game type is staying alive and capping flags. As we see, they put in the final one. That is going to do it. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoy this, hit the like button. I like likes. Take it easy.